Can I ask people to identify themselves if they're going to ask a question and state which organisation they're from? And rather than me ask the first question, I'm going to ask a colleague of mine, Dr. Sandra Peter, who is the Director of Sydney Business Insights at the University of Sydney Business School, to kick off the Q&A.
Thank you, and thank you for all three of you for spending time today with us. My question is for Hamdi, and as the theme today is innovation, I heard you mention two things that I thought were quite different. One is that you started with $700 million, which is quite different to how Silicon Valley startups happen these days. If you look at food technology, you have $180 million for Juicero that squeezes juice out of a packet. So very different approach to that. Also, another thing that you mentioned around innovation lines was the fact that your culture is made from your stories, and many other companies look at other people's stories, whether it's Steve Jobs' stories or whether it's Elon Musk. How do you think these have made a difference for you, and do you see this as a problem with how other companies look at innovation and startups?
Thank you for that, and I really enjoyed two of my colleagues here. We are basically saying the same things when it comes to innovation. Is basically a mindset. You know, it really is. And coming back to your questions, I didn't mean only my stories. It's stories that happens everywhere. I mean, I was at my Chobani, Australia, with my colleagues. I saw things that I didn't see ever before anywhere. And I heard things that it was amazing. Now, you could create a disease, and it's a healthy disease, that can spread different places, and it has its own form, and create something within the same family, but quite different. I didn't build Chobani, Australia. Peter did, Lynn did, and everybody else in this room at Chobani, and everybody else did, because I really didn't do anything here. But what happened is they took the, print from there, what's working, and they understand what's not working, and implement it in this society. And they became one of the fastest growing company here in the food, and not with limited resources. It's just a mindset, and it's their stories. I gotta say, I was in the food incubator opening in Melbourne, which we support, to see more food incubators, food entrepreneurs to come on into the marketplace and innovate. Australia sits in a gold mine. It really does. Why I say that is especially on the food and food technology and tomorrow's food companies and food-related companies. It's really resources, the diversity of the culture. We have people here from all over the world. Climate, and of course the food safety and rules and regulations and all that kind of stuff exist. And if we create this environment where the entrepreneurship and risk-taking innovation is the coolest thing and is supported, and it's okay to fail, and it's okay, and has a support system from the industry and local government and the federal government, and of course, Australia has a chance to become a really leading food innovation center in the world. And it's not only for this market here, but it can be global. Because Australia has a really good brand. And the thing is, when you look at tomorrow, it's all about brand and the products and the connection between the consumer. That's what's going to matter. What's in between it doesn't matter, it might change. And Australia has a really good brand. And I can see it. And hopefully Melbourne, the university there and industry's involvement, the young and passionate people come in, and for the right reason. For our society, for our community, for our country, for the world, for the right reason, and leading with the food innovation. It's very, very exciting time. Very, very exciting time. So let's see what happens in the next 5 years.
Thank you. Who's next? Perhaps in the middle here.
Hi, Rachel O'Loughlin from Stella. This question's also for Hamdi. I'm really interested to understand if all of your employees to your front line are part of creation of new ideas, and how do you set up a framework for capturing those ideas and channeling them up through your innovation?
Yeah. Your question leads to one of the most important things. Ideas and innovation is not product only. It's not. It's why are we doing this way? Why are we palletizing these pallets this way? Can we do it this way? And one person who's on the line has that right idea. And how is his voice is going to go to his shift manager, to plant manager, to whatever that go. So that means, bringing people into the power. It was one of the things is you feel empowered to come up. And outside of the risk of judgment if it's failed, that it doesn't affect your work environment. And how do you create that comfort that everybody can come up? And not to get drunk, everybody has ideas and everybody can throw in there. And this is like, what are we doing here? So what's the quality of the ideas that are coming out is really, really fits into culture and leadership. You have to exercise some of, like what I used to do is sometimes people will give me ideas and I knew it wasn't the right idea. I would still exercise it just to encourage people to continue to do that. I have done some painful decisions. I'll give you one example. One of my colleagues, they really wanted to launch savory yogurt in the US with some chipotle and some things in there. I mean, it tasted good, but I thought that was really not a good idea. But how do I create this? And it says, I could say no, and I dismissed it, and I let them to launch it. And I knew, like I knew my name, it was going to fail, and it failed dramatically. But it teaches us a lot in the meantime, is you're empowered to make that kind of decisions. But let's not fail a lot, in between. So it's a really creation, and it comes to leadership. Like Peter is amazing on that, our CEO at Chobani here, is the leadership is about not making decisions or saying you do this, or you do that. It's creating the environment to others to shine, and including on the ordinary people. I have people write me, text me in my company all the time, email me all the time. I had it last night. On every aspect of the work that we do, that they create ideas that come in. Yeah, it's a great question. It's tough to do, though.
Please, here.
Hi, David Burt, CSIRO. Question for Hamdi. You've talked a lot about people and sort of culture and how that's helped you be successful. You've talked a lot about the brand that you've created and the stories that go into that. You mentioned briefly when you were scanning where to set up in the world that Australia was somewhere that your intellectual property would also be protected. How's technology played a role in your success, and how do you think about what technology you're investing in to make sure that Chobani is still successful going forward?
We used technology for our branding a lot in the beginning. And luckily, when we started, the social media was just coming on. And we didn't have a lot of resources, so we only rely on that. And so that plays a lot of role, and a lot of role in connectivity among each other. We are very, 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 very connected. But we're spending a lot of time on tomorrow's landscape, a lot of time, and thinking about what would that be, and what's Chobani's position will be in there. Some of it is out there in the world, we're exercising it. Some of it we're not. But one thing that we have to do is technology in the end is connecting, companies and brands with the consumer, right? Or gives us option how it's delivered, how you access to that thing. But we are still food makers. We still encourage in one-on-one human connection. We can never forget those attributes. Technology is only a platform that it travels, but in the end, connections are very human. So when we try to be like, oh, I'm very technology savvy, I have all the technologies in there, we forget that it's about making, it's about tasting, it's about sourcing, it's about being close to earth and the farm and the farmers. Then this technology is not really helping. We have to preserve that, add that in a very silent way, still elevate the human interaction between the brands and products and the consumer so we can stay human, you know? And that's our mindset is. It's in the background of it. But in the end, we are food makers. We love making food. And we love talking about it. That's it. Technology is just going to help us to do that.
I may jump in. One of the depressing things I have to say as an Australian is hearing from you that we're ranked number 23 on the Global Innovation Index. I might ask both of you, why is that? And what can we do about it?
I think I look at it as a funnel. So we need to do certain things at the top of the funnel to look at the awareness, knowledge, exchange, understand, and particularly with universities. So for example, if for us at Telstra, and as an example, Internet of Things or big data, machine learning is a priority. We need to go out there, understand what's happening in academia, in higher education, in other areas, to understand where the pockets of knowledge, but then also take it down the funnel and actually do collaborate projects together. And that is, I think, when it comes to the heart of it. So it's not just about, funding things here and there, but actually working together on the priority areas.
So what role do you think government can play in Australia? Does it promote innovation or is it an impediment? What is the role of government for both of you? I'm intrigued.
And I can talk about funding and, and tax and a lot of the other things and policy making, and I'll let others comment on it. But I think there is one thing that is quite simple to do, and particularly for entrepreneurs, they need customers more than they need funding and other things. So I think for government to actually be the customers, and it's great to hear, Andrew, that you're starting to work more with startups. But even if any executive in the room here would start, do 5 proof of concepts with startups in the next year, that's a huge contribution for innovation and for the economy. So I'd say government, start buying from startups, from small companies. And there's a way to deal with the procurement and the risks.
I think my perspective for that, it's too hard for someone with a great idea to be able to scale that idea in Australia. And our organisations, our largest organisations, are improving their ability to ideate and to experiment, but we're really lacking the muscle to turn that into scalable growth. And what we've got to do is evolve our propensity for risk-taking, evolve how we reward and recognise people who actually have the courage to champion that with their teams, to be able to go and do something they haven't done before, but to start a process of learning so that they can work it out. And as Ayala shared in her presentation, it's not easy. There are no silver bullets. That's certainly been our experience. But we have a wonderful opportunity for our organisation, given that we have an ability to be able to help many small businesses in thousands of communities to take their idea and champion that and then enable them to be able to go and grow it. And we see this consistent theme time and time over. So the role of large organisations and their ability to help to provide an environment where people can genuinely grow their great ideas and what they want to go and do is really a place where Australia needs to focus moving forward.
Thanks, Andrew. I'm afraid we have run out of time, and I would ask now Melissa Hamilton, who's the Chief Executive Officer of Stella Asia Pacific, to propose a vote of thanks to our 3 speakers.